What if the best protein source for adults over 60 isn't eggs, it's chicken, or expensive protein powder, but a simple fruit that most people overlook? It sounds almost unbelievable because when we think of protein, fruit is usually the last thing that comes to mind. But one particular fruit stands out for a reason that has surprised nutrition experts and healthy aging researchers alike. It is easy to digest, naturally rich in important nutrients, gentle on the stomach, and far more useful for older adults than many people realize. And once you understand how it supports muscle maintenance, energy, digestion, and overall strength, you may never look at your grocery list the same way again. As we age, the body goes through changes that make protein more important than ever. After 60, muscle mass naturally begins to decline, a process that can quietly affect balance, mobility, metabolism, and even independence. Many seniors think feeling weaker is just a normal part of aging, but in many cases, the problem is not age alone. It is that the body is no longer getting what it needs to repair and preserve muscle efficiently. At the same time, digestion often becomes more sensitive. Heavy meals can feel harder to tolerate. Appetite may decrease, and foods that once seemed healthy can suddenly feel too rich, too dry, or too difficult to digest. That is why finding foods that are both nourishing and easy on the body becomes so important. Eggs are often praised as a perfect protein, and yes, they do offer excellent nutrition. But they are not always ideal for everyone. Some older adults get tired of eating them every day. Others struggle with cholesterol concerns, appetite, fatigue, or simply want more variety in their meals. That is where this fruit enters the conversation in a fascinating way. Because while it may not replace all protein sources on its own, it delivers a combination of plant protein, minerals, enzymes, and age-supportive compounds that make it uniquely valuable, especially for seniors trying to stay strong without overloading their digestive system. The fruit we are talking about is jackfruit. And before you scroll away thinking this is just another trendy food with exaggerated claims, stay with me. Because what makes jackfruit special has very little to do with trends and everything to do with how it works inside the aging body. Jackfruit has been eaten for generations in many parts of the world, but only recently has it started getting attention in conversations about healthy aging, plant-based nutrition, and muscle-supportive eating. It is naturally filling, contains more protein than most fruits, provides fiber for digestive health, and is loaded with nutrients that older adults often need more of, including potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, and antioxidants. For seniors, that combination matters more than most people think. Protein alone is not the full story. The body also needs the right environment to use that protein well. It needs steady digestion, balanced blood sugar, reduced inflammation, proper hydration, and enough vitamins and minerals to support recovery and cellular health. Jackfruit helps in several of those areas at once. And that is why many people are now calling it one of the most underrated foods for older adults. One of the biggest concerns after 60 is sarcopenia, the slow, age-related loss of muscle. This can begin earlier than people expect, and once it progresses, it becomes much harder to reverse. Weak legs, slower walking, reduced grip strength, trouble getting up from chairs, and higher fall risk are often connected to this hidden decline. The good news is that diet can make a real difference. The body needs regular protein intake spread throughout the day, but it also benefits from nutrient-dense foods that support recovery, reduce stress on the digestive system, and encourage better overall eating habits. Jackfruit can be part of that strategy because it is versatile, satisfying, and easier for many seniors to enjoy compared with heavier protein foods that feel repetitive or hard to chew. Another important reason jackfruit gets attention is that many older adults are not actually eating enough total calories or enough variety. Sometimes they focus so much on cutting fat or avoiding large meals that they end up undernourished without realizing it. That undernourishment can lead to weakness, fatigue, poor healing, and reduced resilience. Jackfruit can help bring back appetite because of its naturally sweet taste and pleasant texture. It can be eaten ripe as a fruit, added to smoothies, mixed into yogurt, or used in savory meals when unripe. This makes it easier to increase nutrient intake in a way that feels enjoyable rather than forced. And when healthy eating becomes pleasant, consistency improves. That matters because the best food in the world is useless if someone does not want to eat it regularly. There is also the issue of digestion, which becomes more important with age than many people expect. Constipation, bloating, sluggish digestion, and reduced stomach acid are common complaints among seniors. These problems can make it harder for the body to fully break down and absorb nutrients from meals. Jackfruit contains fiber that can support regularity and digestive comfort when introduced properly and eaten in reasonable portions. A healthier digestive system does more than keep you comfortable. It affects how well you absorb amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, all of which are essential for maintaining energy and strength. In other words, a food that supports digestion can indirectly support muscle and vitality too. That is one reason why jackfruit can be so useful compared with foods that are technically high in protein, but harder for some people to process. And then there is potassium, one of the most important nutrients for aging adults. Potassium helps support healthy muscle function, nerve signaling, and fluid balance. It also plays a major role in heart health and can help counteract some of the harmful effects of excess sodium in the diet. Many older adults do not get enough potassium, especially if their diets are limited or overly processed. Jackfruit provides a meaningful amount of it, which gives it another advantage beyond simple protein content. A muscle-supportive food that also supports hydration and cardiovascular health is doing much more than one job. Magnesium is another often overlooked nutrient found in jackfruit, and it matters greatly for older adults. Magnesium is involved in hundreds of processes in the body, including muscle contraction, relaxation, energy production, nerve health, and sleep quality. Low magnesium can contribute to weakness, fatigue, cramps, and poor recovery. That is why foods containing both potassium and magnesium can be so valuable in a senior diet. They do not just feed the body, they help it function more smoothly. That smoother function can be the difference between feeling tired all day and feeling stable, energized, and capable. Jackfruit also contains vitamin C, which many people associate only with immune support, but it does much more than that. Vitamin C plays a crucial role in collagen production, tissue repair, skin health, and antioxidant defense. For older adults, tissue repair becomes especially important because the body no longer bounces back as quickly as it once did. Small strains, inflammation, or slower healing can snowball into bigger issues over time. By including foods rich in vitamin C alongside protein-containing foods, seniors give their bodies more of the tools needed for repair and resilience. This is one of the hidden benefits of jackfruit that makes it more impressive than many people first assume. Of course, it is important to be honest here. Jackfruit is not a magic bullet, and it is not literally a complete replacement for eggs in every nutritional sense. Eggs still provide a more concentrated protein source and contain important nutrients of their own, but that is not the full point. The real point is that jackfruit offers a broader, aging-friendly package that can outperform eggs in certain situations for certain people, especially when someone needs something lighter, easier to enjoy, rich in supportive nutrients, and more helpful for overall digestive comfort. For seniors who are tired of the same old protein advice, this can be a game changer. Sometimes the body does better with a smart combination of moderate protein, fiber, minerals, hydration support, and antioxidants than with a single food that looks strong only on paper. That is what makes jackfruit so interesting. It supports the whole system, not just one nutrition label number. And there is another benefit people rarely talk about: chewing ease and meal flexibility. Many adults over 60 deal with dental issues, reduced chewing comfort, or simply less desire for dry and dense foods. Tough meats can become tiring. Even eggs can feel monotonous. Jackfruit, especially when ripe and soft, can be much easier to eat. It blends well, mashes easily, and can be incorporated into meals and snacks without much effort. That makes it practical, not just healthy. Practical foods are the ones people actually keep eating. And over time, the foods you consistently eat shape your strength, stamina, and health far more than occasional superfoods ever will. In many ways, the biggest mistake seniors make is waiting until weakness becomes obvious before changing how they eat. By then, the body is already trying to catch up. But the smartest approach is to build strength early and steadily, using foods that nourish the body before major decline begins. That is why learning about options like jackfruit matters. It opens the door to better variety, better digestion, and more enjoyable nutrition. It reminds us that staying strong after 60 is not only about eating more. It is about eating smarter. And sometimes the smartest foods are not the ones most heavily advertised. They are the ones that quietly support several systems at once and fit naturally into daily life. So if you have been relying on the same breakfast foods, the same routine, and the same old advice, this may be the perfect time to rethink what strength-building nutrition can really look like after 60, because this surprising fruit may be doing far more for the aging body than most people ever imagined. Now let's talk about the most important question. How should adults over 60 actually use jackfruit in real life if they want better strength, better energy, and better overall health? Because knowing a food is helpful is one thing, but using it the right way is what makes the difference. The first thing to understand is that jackfruit works best as part of a bigger strategy, not as a miracle cure. Seniors who maintain strength the longest usually do not rely on one single food. They build daily habits around balance, variety, and consistency. That means combining smart protein choices, gentle physical activity, enough hydration, and meals that the body can actually digest and use. Jackfruit fits into that strategy beautifully because it can support nutrition without feeling heavy. For example, ripe jackfruit can be added to a morning smoothie with Greek yogurt, milk, or a plant-based protein source for a meal that is soft, easy to consume, and much more appealing to people who no longer enjoy big breakfasts. It can also be mixed with cottage cheese, served with nuts, or paired with seeds to create a more complete and satisfying nutrient profile. Unripe jackfruit, which has a meat-like texture, can be used in savory dishes like soups, stews, vegetable bowls, or light sandwiches. This gives seniors a flexible ingredient that can increase meal variety and make healthy eating feel less repetitive. That matters because boredom is one of the main reasons people stop following healthy routines. Another advantage of jackfruit is how well it works for people who need to eat smaller meals. Many adults over 60 find that large meals leave them sluggish, uncomfortable, or simply uninterested in food later in the day. But eating too little can backfire, leading to lower protein intake, lower calorie intake, and gradual weakness. Smaller, nutrient-rich meals are often easier to tolerate. Jackfruit can be part of that approach because it adds bulk, flavor, and valuable nutrients without feeling too dense. This makes it useful for midday meals or snacks when energy often drops and appetite becomes unpredictable. Instead of reaching for cookies, crackers, or processed foods that give a quick spike and crash, seniors can use options like jackfruit with yogurt, jackfruit with chopped walnuts, or a soft jackfruit bowl with other fruits and protein-rich toppings. These choices help support steady energy instead of draining it. And that steady energy becomes especially important with age because fatigue often leads to less movement. And less movement leads to even more weakness over time. There is also a blood sugar angle that many older adults should pay attention to. Stable blood sugar is one of the hidden foundations of healthy aging. When blood sugar swings too sharply, people often feel shaky, tired, foggy, or hungry again very quickly. Over time, poor blood sugar control can also affect the heart, kidneys, nerves, eyes, and brain. Jackfruit, when eaten in sensible portions and paired with protein or healthy fats, can fit into a balanced eating pattern much better than many sugary snacks marketed to seniors. The key is not to eat it mindlessly or in huge amounts. The key is pairing it intelligently. A small serving alongside yogurt, chia seeds, cottage cheese, or nuts can make it far more balanced and useful. This is where older adults often go wrong with healthy foods. They hear that something is good for them, but they do not think about portion size, food pairing, or overall meal structure. With the right combination, jackfruit becomes not just a fruit, but part of a system that supports stamina and metabolic health. Another big benefit for older adults is that jackfruit may help them move away from overly processed convenience foods. Many seniors, especially those who live alone, gradually start relying on packaged meals, toast, sugary cereals, frozen snacks, or low-protein comfort foods simply because they are quick and familiar. The problem is that these foods often fail to provide the nutrients needed for healthy aging. They may fill the stomach for a moment, but they do very little to support muscle, recovery, digestion, or long-term vitality. Jackfruit can be a useful bridge food. It is simple, naturally appealing, and can replace less nutritious sweet options while still feeling enjoyable. That emotional side of eating matters too. Healthy food should not feel like punishment. It should feel inviting enough that people actually want it. The seniors who age best are often not the ones following extreme diets. They are the ones who find sustainable foods they can enjoy again and again. Of course, there are a few important cautions. Anyone with diabetes, kidney disease, digestive disorders, or special dietary restrictions should always be thoughtful about portions and talk with a healthcare professional if they are making significant diet changes. This is especially true because potassium, while beneficial for many people, may need to be monitored in some medical conditions. Also, not everyone will tolerate fiber the same way. If someone is not used to fiber-rich foods, introducing too much jackfruit too quickly could cause gas or bloating. That does not mean the food is bad. It simply means the body may need time to adjust. Starting with small amounts is usually the smartest approach. Slow, steady changes tend to work better than dramatic ones. This is one of the most overlooked truths in nutrition for seniors. The body often responds better to gentle consistency than to sudden extremes. Now, here is where things get really interesting. The reason jackfruit can sometimes beat eggs in the minds of many older adults has less to do with raw protein numbers and more to do with real-life use. Yes, eggs are more concentrated in protein. But how often do people get tired of them? How often do they skip them because they do not feel like cooking, chewing, or eating another plain egg-based meal? How often do they end up replacing a nutritious option with something much worse simply because they are bored? A food that someone will actually eat consistently can outperform a theoretically perfect food they keep avoiding. In real life, adherence matters. Enjoyment matters. Digestive comfort matters. Convenience matters. Jackfruit wins in those areas for many people. It introduces novelty without becoming unhealthy, and that can be enough to improve the entire diet pattern over time. This is why healthy aging is rarely about one dramatic secret. It is about removing the little barriers that slowly pull people away from good habits. A food that is easy, soft, pleasant, and versatile can quietly become one of those habit-saving tools. There is also a wider lesson here for every adult over 60 watching this. Aging well is not only about adding years to life. It is about preserving function, confidence, and independence. The ability to walk comfortably, get up busily, carry groceries, recover from illness, sleep better, and feel steady on your feet matters far more than most people realize until those abilities begin to fade. Nutrition plays a direct role in protecting those everyday functions. And while one fruit cannot solve everything, foods like jackfruit remind us that the solution to aging well is often more creative and more flexible than people think. You do not always need the most expensive supplement or the most extreme diet. Sometimes you need foods that help you eat better, more consistently, and give your body a broader mix of support. That is exactly where jackfruit shines. So what should you do, starting now? First, stop thinking about protein in the narrowest possible way. Yes, the number matters, but the whole package matters too. Think about digestibility, appetite, variety, minerals, antioxidants, hydration support, and how likely you are to keep eating that food week after week. Second, consider adding jackfruit once or twice a week in a simple form you enjoy, either ripe in soft meals and snacks or unripe in savory dishes. Third, pair it with other protein-rich foods to create a smarter overall meal. And fourth, remember that strength after 60 is built meal by meal, day by day, not in one perfect moment. The people who stay strongest are usually the ones who make many good choices consistently, not the ones who chase miracle foods and then give up. In the end, eggs are still a good food. But they are not the only answer, and for some seniors, they may not even be the most practical answer every day. Jackfruit offers something surprisingly powerful, a gentle, nourishing, flexible option that supports the aging body in multiple ways at once. It may not look like a typical protein food, and that is exactly why so many people underestimate it. But once you see how it fits into real, healthy aging, it becomes clear why this fruit deserves much more attention. If you are over 60 and looking for simple ways to protect your strength, improve your meals, and support your body more naturally, this could be one of the smartest foods to start exploring. Sometimes the biggest health advantage comes from the thing nobody told you to look at. And this fruit may be one of those hidden advantages. If you found this helpful, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone over 60 who wants to stay strong, active, and independent for years to come.